Hi, I'm Richard Maraj, Senior Minister at Unity of Phoenix Spiritual Center, and I want to thank you for visiting our website and for tuning in to today's message. If you feel inspired by today's talk, I really encourage you to make a donation by hitting that button below and making a contribution to this ministry. It'll allow us to continue these messages online and to do the great work we do here at Unity of Phoenix, which is to inspire people to live better lives. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for your support, and we hope to see you at a Sunday real soon.
Morning again, everyone. And a shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. Welcome. So one day these three guys were hiking and unexpectedly came across this large, raging, violent river. And they had to get across it, but they didn't know how they were going to get to the other side. So the first guy decides to pray to God. And he says, "Please, God, give me the strength to cross this river." And poof, he had strong arms and strong legs and started swimming across. Took him 2 hours, almost drowned several times, but he made it across. Second guy seeing this, prayed, "Please, God, give me the strength and the tools to cross this river." And poof, he got the rowboat and he was able to cross the river. He almost capsized a couple times, but it took him an hour and he got across. Third guy, seeing how it went for the first two, prayed and said, "Please, God, give me the strength and the tools and the intelligence to cross this river." And poof, God turned him into a woman, and she read the map, hiked upstream 200 yards, and then calmly crossed the bridge. And so, So how many people would like your life to go as smoothly and easily as it did for the third person crossing the bridge? All right. And how many people ever had in your life, you're in a groove, things are clicking in the flow, and then you hit a snag, you get off course, and you have a hard time getting that area of your life back on track? Anybody ever have that experience? You know, sometimes we come across situations in our life that truly knock us down, that knock us off course, that they trip us up and really break our stride. So what has thrown you off course in your life? What is it that is slowing you down? What is getting in your way of being as happy and successful and peaceful as you'd like to be? What is holding you back and breaking your stride? As happy and successful as we all want to be, ultimately in our lives, inevitably, things do get in our way. There are things for us to deal with, things that distract us, things that have us lose our focus and have us drift away from our dreams or our goals or the things that we truly desire. The motivational speaker Les Brown once said that most people focus more on their distractions rather than their destiny. And it is focusing on those things, those issues, that actually keep us from moving forward and regaining our stride. So Friday I went to get my eyes checked, and they have to put like drops in to dilate your pupils to look at your retina. And then your eyes are more sensitive to light when they're dilated, and then they're shining this bright light like the sun in your face, and you want to close your eyes, and you just don't want to do it, and it's uncomfortable. But the solution that they have to do that, so they can do it, and that is they say, look straight ahead. That when you focus straight ahead, even when the light is there shining, as long as you're focusing, it doesn't distract you. You know that it's there, you know that it's helping, but when you're focused to a certain point, that it actually makes it easy and possible to do that test. And life is the same way. That when you focus on what you want and your desire, instead of following the distractions, you actually are aware of the distractions, but you're able to actually be more successful and progress with your life. Does that make sense? And I think that's what this song is trying to teach us, the importance of that there will be things in our lives that will distract us. There'll be people who don't believe us, who criticize us, some things that don't go very well, that will want to get our attention, but we need to focus beyond and keep moving ahead and let nothing break our stride. So today we're in the fourth and final week of our annual series, The Songs of Life, because everybody's got a song that inspires you and touches your heart. There's something about music and words that do something to us in such an amazing way. Every one of us has, I'm sure, several songs that have meaning for us, that got us through a difficult time or helped heal us or uplift us when we went through some challenging situation. So in the first week, we looked at If I Can Dream by Elvis Presley, looking at the power of hope and the power to dream and changing our lives. Week 2 was Barry Manilow's Daybreak, about having a positive attitude and having a fresh start and a new day and beginning. Last week we looked at James Taylor's You've Got a Friend, the power of friendship and the difference it makes in our lives. Today we're looking at Matthew Wilder's Break My Stride, the power of overcoming and not letting anyone or anything stop us from moving forward with the kind of life that we want to live. Let me read you some of the words. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. Doesn't that sound very positive? You get motivated and excited just hearing those words. Interesting, the message of this song is in the context of a relationship breakup, where first the woman doesn't want him to break his stride. She wants to keep moving. And then at the end, she realizes that's not what I really wanted and doesn't want to have that happen and break his stride ever again. But the actual real story behind the song of Matthew Wilder writing it was his relationship with Clive Davis. Clive Davis was the founder of Arista Records, and he, had signed Whitney Houston, Aerosmith, Bruce Springsteen, a whole bunch. I mean, the guy's an icon and a legend in music. And he signed Matthew Wilder back in 1981. But every song that Matthew Wilder came up with that he wanted to write, Clive Davis didn't like. And he got really, really frustrated. And it was out of his frustration that he and his writing partner wrote Break My Stride. And he covered it up with a relationship, but it was really his relationship with Clive Davis and how frustrating it was about how he was holding him back. And in fact, things were so tense between them, Matthew Wilder paid to record the song at another studio on the overnight shift with some of his buddies. And then he mailed it in to Arista Records and called and kept calling. Nobody could find the cassette. And so finally, a couple weeks after, they found the cassette with a note from Clive Davis that said, "Interesting song, but not a hit. If you guys can't hear this, there's nothing I can do for you anymore." And they fired him from the label. And so Matthew Wilder had to go around and pitch this song, Break My Stride. Finally, a subsidiary of Epic Records called Private Eye Records picked it up. It was their first hit. It went number 5 in the UK and also up in the top 5 in the US as well. He's had great success. It's been used in movies, commercials. It's been remade a few times. It's really been a huge lifelong success. In fact, we had a wedding yesterday, and during the little reception thing, they played this song. I mean, it's been a huge hit. But more importantly, he said writing this song was a gift to himself. To be able to believe himself, even when an icon says that's not good enough and you're not good enough, that this was really a gift for him. But I think it's a gift to the world, because I think we've all had situations where people don't believe in us or the conditions don't look favorable, and we have to keep believing in ourselves and not let anything or anyone slow us down or break our stride. So this morning, we're going to look at what wonderful messages and lessons we can learn from this song to help us in living our lives and moving forward to live our best life. And the first thing is, I think we need to develop a mindset of determination. You know, Seth Godin, in his book, The Dip, says that there's a place on the road to success where you will suffer setbacks, where things will not go your way, where you'll run into obstacles, unexpected surprises, and things that will pull you off course. People may not believe in you. You may have a setback in all kinds of different areas. And he said one of the key things that we need in life to succeed that we don't realize is determination. And he calls this area where things doesn't go well the dip. He says at some point you will have a dip. And it could be a dip in having hard times, or a dip in your finances, or a dip in a relationship, or a dip with your career, or feeling lost, a dip in your health where things may not go as well, a dip because of a mistake you might have made, or a poor investment, or just things in your life just seem to be falling apart. And he said it is in the place of the dip is where we need determination. Because it is in that place when things aren't going well that we sometimes get discouraged and feel helpless and powerless and sometimes want to give up. But it is determination that helps us move through the dip to reach the other side and reach greater levels of happiness and success. You know, sometimes we hear about successful people, we always assume that everything was easy for them. Like Elon Musk, you know, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Everybody knows him as a co-founder of PayPal and Tesla and SpaceX and SolarCity. But his very first business was actually called Zip2. And it was back in the early 90s, and it was a company, an internet company that was trying to get internet companies to sign up to attach to search engines so they could optimize their being found on the internet. And it wasn't going so well. In fact, the number of sales they had, coincidentally, was also Zip. But they kept pounding the pavement, going door to door, and eventually it was very, very, very successful. And one of the things he says, it's determination. He calls it the mentality of a samurai. That you got to be aware that everything isn't going to go right and smooth all the time. And you've got to hang in there and be determined if you want to succeed in anything. Whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's relationship, whether it's business, it doesn't matter that you need a level of determination. Microsoft, everybody think Bill Gates, anything he touched turned to gold. Well, Microsoft wasn't in the beginning wasn't very successful. They had to keep working at it, and it was their determination that got them to get more creative, to adapt, to change, to think of different strategies of how to grow the business, and of course, it became a success. What I love about determination, it's a combination of drive and a belief in yourself and a belief in the thing that you want and want to do, that it will make a positive difference in your life and in the world. The thing I love about determination is like it knows that there will be challenges, but it also knows that we have it in us to rise above those and have greater levels of success. I love what Winston Churchill said. He said, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And to me, that was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't funny apparently. But so where in your life are you experiencing a dip? And what level of determination is your mind set at? So are you ready to do all the things that are needed, like Elon Musk, like Bill Gates, like all those who have succeeded to get through that dip and get to the other side? Because it is determination that will be the deciding factor. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride, and nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. You can hear the determination in the song. You can hear that mindset that nothing will stop me. I will keep doing this until I succeed. You know, Scripture says I can do all things through God who strengthens me. And one thing I always like to tell myself, this will not break me, this will make me better. You know, that God is greater than this, and I am more than this. That greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world, as it says in Scripture. Determination is the thing that keeps us moving ahead no matter what obstacles we face. The other thing about determination is I think it's not just about not quitting. I think determination is also about a commitment and a willingness to improve, to learn, and keep getting better. That's a part of determination, and which leads us to the next lines. And that when it says, you look at me and see your past, is that the reason why you're running so fast? And one of the things is sometimes in life, we need to resolve to learn from the past, not run from it. Often when things didn't go well or things are painful, we don't want to go there. We would rather run from it, avoid it, bury our head like an ostrich and pretend it's not there. And whether it's shame or abuse or regret or some mistake that we made, sometimes we rather hide from it and tuck it away and just keep moving forward. But there's a difference between moving towards something and running away from something. And sometimes we need to pause and ask ourselves the question is, what is it am I pretending not to know or pretending not to see? Or what is it that, it's time for me to face or time for me to deal with? What is it time for me to heal? What is it time for me to let go or get some help and support in? Socrates once said the unexamined life is not worth living. And what he means by that is that life is such a precious gift, it behooves us to pause sometimes and look at it and say, what is it that I need to do differently? What is it that I need to change? What areas might I need a little bit of help in right now? Because it's very, very easy to get stuck in the past. And another thing that's not healthy besides getting stuck in the past is running from it. Neither one of them helps. That we need to have actually a healthier relationship with the past and a healthier relationship with our pain and our struggles, and not be afraid to look at it, but actually bring it into the light. That will free us from it and liberate us, because the more we bury it, guess what? The more it'll sabotage our success and happiness. It'll undermine the very life that we're trying to move towards. And so I think it's an important thing to make a commitment to learn from our past, to let ourselves heal from whatever we need to heal so we can truly move on and not have anything break our stride. The next thing is that we need to center ourselves in silence, center ourselves in the very source that make all things possible. You know, we always want to hit our stride, be in the flow. Well, you know, the best way to be in the flow is to be in the flow of God. You know, Russell Simmons, who's an entrepreneur and author and music executive, wrote a book called Success Through Silence. The thing I'm finding more and more is that entertainers, sport people are really finding and realizing the value and the huge benefit of silence and meditation. That quieting the mind and being still not only brings us a sense of peace, but it opens us as a channel for light and inspiration, of healing and wisdom and understanding and guidance. And so my question is, how important a role is silence in your life? Because the truth is, if you really want to have success in whatever form it is, silence, being still, quieting the mind has got to be an important thing. Here's what it says in Psalm 1, verse 2 and 3. They that delight in the law of the Lord and meditate on it day and night, they are like trees planted by the streams of water, which yield their fruit in its season, and their leaves do not wither. In all that they do, they prosper. So what it's saying is, when you immerse your mind in the silence and the quietness of God and in that stillness, it is like a tree that's planted next to a stream, that its source is there that lets it bear fruit, and that none of its leaves ever wither, that it prospers in all that it does. And what it's saying is, when you're anchored and connected to the source on a regular basis, your life will flourish and things will not wither in your life. And the not wither thing for me means that in the areas of your life where you think things are going wrong, somehow Spirit will make it to go right. That if you've lost your job and you think it's over, Spirit will lead you to something even better. If you have a challenge in your family and relationship, through that healing, your family will get even closer to anything you think is going wrong in your life, that when you keep centered in Spirit, it will be transformed into something greater and something even better. And so my question is, what is your commitment to spending time in the silence, to quieting your mind and being still and knowing and connecting with the very source out of which makes all things possible? And then the final thing is, we need to keep moving towards our dream. Here's what it says in the book of Philippians. Forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on towards the goal for which to get the prize for which I've been called heavenly in Christ Jesus. And so there's a point at which we just need to keep moving towards our dream, keep moving towards the very thing that we're seeking. You know, Henry David Thoreau had a famous line, and he said, the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. And saying that many get to a point where they've hit enough brick walls that they start feeling like maybe this is as good as it gets. But here's his remedy for if we ever feel that way. He writes, I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put things behind, will pass an invisible boundary. New, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him, or the old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. And he's saying, if you move towards your dream, if you move in that direction consistently, the universe will conspire. The things will open for you in amazing ways that will lift you and manifest that very thing that you are seeking. There is something powerful about being focused and moving in a direction of the level of love or happiness or fulfillment or success. Keep thinking, believing, appreciating, expecting, and celebrating the very kind of quality of life that you want to live. Move confidently in the direction of your dreams, and amazing things will happen. You will leave behind the old things, and greater, newer things will come forth. Robert Downey Jr. is one of the highest paid actors right now. He's worth over $260 million, but it has not been an easy road for him. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was a cult filmmaker, and he was a very severe drug addict. Robert Downey Sr. gave his son to smoke marijuana at the age of 6. Because he was an addict and not right in his head, them bonding was doing drugs together. By the time he was 8, he was an addict. By the time before he was a teenager, he had been having weed, alcohol, and narcotics on a regular basis. Robert Downey Jr. is a very, very talented young man, but that's a pretty strong demon to overcome, an addiction that started when you were 6 years old. He actually got on Saturday Night Live. I think that he got fired from that for a while. I can't remember why. But every time something went well, he'd always undermine his success by having a lapse in his recovery process. Over and over again, he would show up hungover on different sets. Over and over again, he would get arrested. They would sometimes be found sleeping behind a dumpster behind a restaurant. He actually once got arrested. He was sleeping in someone else's house. He wandered into the wrong house and fell asleep. He was walking barefoot, found hallucinating in parks. It did not go well for him for a lot of years. He lost his wife and his child because of this kind of behavior. He once said that it is easy to latch onto hopelessness when you are so overwhelmed with what's going on in your life. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for all the trouble that he was having in his life. Finally, in 2003, he met a woman who had said, if you want to have any relation with me, you need to get yourself clean. And he credits meditation, yoga, his 12-step program, and his wife's ultimatum in why his life has turned around. In 2008, he got to play Tony Stark in Iron Man 2008? And he once wrote, it is easy to stop the drugs. It's just hard to not start back again. And said, I have hit rock bottom many times, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there. You've got to have a desire to get better and to never, ever give up. And I really love and respect him even more than I did before, because can you imagine struggling through an addiction from 6 to 43 years old? He's been clean for more than a decade now, and he actually helps people going through this process because he has been there and lived there. And to me, that's what moving in the direction of your dreams is. See, an addiction can break your stride. Poverty can break your stride. Not having enough money can break your stride. Feeling like you don't have enough education can break your stride. Failing over and over again can break your stride. But if you do not let it slow you down and you keep moving in the direction of your dreams, there will be a breakthrough. You will pass an invisible boundary. The universe will begin to support you, and amazing things will happen. In the pursuit of happiness, remember that movie? Will Smith played a guy. His name was Chris Gardner. He went all in on this x-ray machine that nobody bought, lost his money. His wife left him. He was left with just he and his toddler. He signed up as an apprenticeship with Dean Witter, and he didn't have enough money for an apartment. And so for a whole year, he and his little son were homeless. And from bus restrooms and shelters and all kinds of places. He did that until he was able to get a job and get an apartment. And then he, in '87, started his own company. He's worth over $60 million today. He travels all over the world. But again, poverty may have broken his stride, but moving forward and taking action, that's what got him far. He kept moving towards the direction of his dreams. So what is your dream? What is your highest good? What would you like to create in your life? And are you willing to move forward? What is one action you could take this week towards that greater thing that you want in your life, to move confidently towards the life that you desire, towards the person you want to be, and towards the difference that you want to create? Churchill said this: success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So let's all take this and have the courage to continue, the courage to keep moving forward and moving on. We're all going to have setbacks. We're all going to have things that aren't going to go well, but through a mindset of determination, through a willingness to learn and not run from the past, to center ourselves in the silence, in the source, and to keep moving in the direction of our dreams, I'll guarantee you that anyone is going to break our stride. God bless you all.